Welcome to the Extractor fan project. For this you'll need a power supply which is capable of handling around 3 amps output, as we'll be using computer fans to provide the airflow. On the back you should have a diagram of the connector layout so you know which terminal is positive and which is negative. This will be important to plug the fans into the connector later. You will also need some fans. I've chosen these as they were the cheapest I could find. As you see, I've stripped off the connector from this one, and I'll show you how to do that later. You will also need a knife or some scissors, some cable ties, a large Jubilee clip and some tubing. This is how the fans will arrive, with a plastic cover to help with connecting within a computer. All you need to remove this is with your knife or scissors, push down on the little metal lugs on each pin. There are normally 2 lugs on each of the pins, so press firmly on each one to flatten it against the pin. And once they are both flush, you should be able to easily pull the pin free from the plastic. It can be a little bit fiddly, but you'll need to do this with both ends of the connector in the same fashion. It's just the same pin. With the plastic removed, you'll then have a negative and a positive wire. Next step is connecting the fans together. The easiest way is to simply use the pins already attached to the positive and negative wires, as this eliminates the need for any soldering and will give a good solid connection. You'll need to do this in parallel so you can power each fan evenly from a single source. So simply take the male connector on the positive wire from one fan, solid yellow in this case, and pushed into the female connector of the next fan, and continue for the third. Once they are all together, do the same for the negative connectors, solid black on these fans. This will give you a parallel positive and parallel negative rail that can be plugged straight into the power source. So in this step we're going to attach the fans together. You will need those cable ties to do this, but it's quite a simple process. Simply feed the tie through the screw holes from back to front. It can be a bit fiddly, but once you're done, just push it through all the way to the front and then round and through the ratchet. Pull it tight and that's one corner done. Now move on to the next corner and repeat the same process. I thought it might be neater to keep all of the ratchets on the same side and might make it easier to attach the hose later. Oh, as you can see, it's a bit fiddly. But then just back through the ratchet and pull it tight. So do the same for the other corners and then stretch the hose over the outside. So I stretched the tube over the corners of the fans and it's a surprisingly good fit actually. No real need for the Jubilee clip to hold it tight, unfortunately, but maybe it'll be useful for something else. Let's connect it to the power supply now and check the circuit is correct before switching it on. This is the connector we'll use and the circuit diagram on the back of the transformer showing positive and negative. So the positive, which is the red wire with the yellow interconnect, there it is, goes into the middle of the plug on this supply. Yep, it just slides in. It's best to make sure. Yep, positive in the middle. And the negative, black with red interconnect, goes on the outside. Well, here is my soldering iron and a bit of solder smoking away merrily without the extractor fan. Believe me, after a couple of hours you'll have a nice big headache. So let's turn it on and see if there is any difference. I have the end of the tube out of the window into the garden. Ah, there we have it. Works quite well. A cheap, easy, homemade extractor. Please comment if you have any suggestions, and we'll see you again soon.